Donald Trump has halted, well, at least he claims to have halted negotiations between Democrats and Republicans on the next round of coronavirus stimulus. Now, he made this announcement via Twitter, which is what he often does when he issues hollow, non-binding policy decisions, executive orders, all sorts of nonsense. So take it with a grain of salt, but this is what he reported. Nancy Pelosi is asking for $2.4 trillion to bail out poorly run, high crime Democrat states, money that is in no way related to COVID-19. We made a very generous offer of $1.6 trillion, and as usual, she's not negotiating in good faith. I'll read more of his tweets in just a minute. Part of my job that I enjoy the most, reading his tweets all day. But nonetheless, what the state funding would help with would be, states have been paying unemployment through their coffers. And there have been a lot of people who have been laid off and furloughed during this pandemic. So this is not about sending money to poorly run states. If the state of California was so poorly run, then why is it subsidizing the welfare programs throughout the country, especially in middle America, red states that overwhelmingly voted for Trump? I would argue that California state is not poorly run in that regard, but nonetheless, let me continue. He also tweets, I'm rejecting their, meaning Democrats' request and looking to the future of our country. I have instructed my representatives to stop negotiating until the election, when immediately after I win, we will pass a major stimulus bill that focuses on hardworking Americans and small businesses. I have asked Mitch McConnell not to delay, but to instead focus full-time on approving my outstanding nomination to the United States Supreme Court, Amy Coney Barrett. Our economy is doing very well. No, it's not. 8.4% unemployment rate. People are desperate. Jerome Powell, head of the Federal Reserve, is urging Congress to pass stimulus immediately because of how shaky and unstable the economy really is, the real economy really is. And Cenk, following Trump's ridiculous and curious announcement, which of course is gonna hurt him politically, the stock market did take a hit. Let's take a look at what we saw in the stock market immediately after Trump tweeted these things. You can see that share prices just kind of fell off a cliff right there. That's the Dow Jones Industrial Average.
Yeah,
nice.
So I think that out of all of the thousands of insane, ridiculous, moronic things that Donald Trump has done, politically speaking, this, believe it or not, is the dumbest of all. So as soon as I saw the tweets, I couldn't believe my eyes. So let me explain why it's remarkably stupid. First, a minor point, the one that Anna was talking about, the blue states. Well, a lot of the blue states are swing states. So you just punch them in the face when you need to win an election in the swing states. That's so dumb. If you just left it at that, you'd be like, wow, what an amateur, right? Okay, but let's move on to the much larger point. When you say you're ending the stimulus bill, let's talk about all the repercussions of that. So number one, anyone who's following politics will tell you, and the economy and the stock market can tell you the stock market's gonna collapse. Of course it dove, of course it, how could you not know that? How could you not know that? And that's the only thing he cares about is, stock market, it's so great, the economy's great. And all of his rich friends have money in the stock. He didn't know the stock market was gonna collapse when he did that. He's so dumb, it's unbelievable. And just today, look, he doesn't understand any of this nuance. But the Fed had said, hey, we need more fiscal stimulus. He probably doesn't even know what that means. And if you're out there and you're a dentist, you don't know what it means, it's okay, but you're not the president. What it means is the Fed's saying, throwing up their hands going, there's nothing else we can do. Fiscal stimulus is the government passing another stimulus bill. So the Fed's saying, we got nothing left. You have to take action legislatively. Trump goes, okay, I'm not gonna do it at all. Of course, collapse. So now, a second point, he just let the Democrats off the hook. So, like the Democrats actually, and I gave them credit for this last week. I said, actually, doing a giant stimulus bill right before a presidential election that the president would take credit for is not a really smart politics. It's good policy, and it's principled of the Democrats to care enough to get that relief to the American citizens, even though it could hurt them politically, could help Trump politically. But now they don't have to worry about it because Trump just punched himself in the face and said, it's not the Democrats, I'm the one killing the stimulus bill. I'm the one that's going to make sure that you don't get any help. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that he's that stupid. And then finally-
So devil's advocate. Okay, go ahead, make that final
go ahead, do devil's advocate, and then I'll give the final point.
Yeah, so I wanna basically respond to the last point you made with, I hear you, and that's like the conventional wisdom that I'm seeing most pundits share, that this is gonna hurt him because he's taking charge and announcing that he's the one who's halting negotiations when it comes to coronavirus. But remember, he included that explanation of, I'm not gonna spend, these hard-earned taxpayer dollars to these failing Democrat states. Remember, he doesn't care about appealing to blue states. Those states, he has no chance of winning anyway. This is easy red meat to his base, because even though they're shooting themselves in the foot, that's the way they're gonna see it, Cenk. You think that they're gonna see it as, oh no, this is gonna hurt us?
No, you gotta get out of this mindset that, seriously, almost everybody is in this mindset. As if the most MAGA dude in the world is gonna decide an election. No, you're never gonna move 30% of the country that is deep red and totally MAGA. But they're
but my point is
irrelevant.
I get it. You're not getting my point though. You are not, they are not irrelevant. They're not irrelevant. They're not irrelevant. Trump has focused specifically on his base, making his base happy. That is the calculation he's made. That's the reason why he doesn't care about passing a stimulus bill. He doesn't care about taking ownership of the fact that he's the one who stopped the negotiations. As long as he keeps feeding red meat to his base, he believes that that's what he thinks. He thinks that it's gonna be a successful campaign strategy. Yes, that's what he thinks.
Yes, of course he thinks that. But that's because he's a moron. So let me explain like the difference between 2016 and now, okay? So in 2016, it was a very, very close election. The Democrats, in their infinite stupidity, said, "Oh, Hillary Clinton won. Don't worry about it. Don't show up. And she's not even going to bother doing rallies in Wisconsin and Michigan and Pennsylvania. And we don't even have to try. And here, we'll pick Tim Kaine, who no one likes and no one cares about. We don't have to energize anyone. We'll insult our base 24/7, tell them to stay home." And Trump went to his base. Now, when you go to your base and you increase voter turnout in a close election, that's a smart strategy. In an election that is not anywhere near close, right now Biden has a 9-point lead in an average of polls that includes old polls where he didn't have as big a lead. His lead is monstrous. Getting your base to turn out by a couple of extra percentage points ain't gonna help you if you lose the entire middle. Now, the entire middle isn't that much, it's about 15% of the country, but they do decide elections. Voter turnout decides close elections, and in all other elections, the middle decides it. And he's lost the entire middle by doing a mistake that the Democrats make the opposite mistake. They constantly talk crap about their base. They constantly depress their own voter turnout. But Trump has overcorrected, and he's going for the white supremacist neo-Nazi base, which is minuscule. So no, telling the whole country, hey, and this leads me to my last point. Hey, you know what? I think I'm past coronavirus, whether that's true or not. Here, I'll take my mask off. I think I survived it. I don't care about you. I don't care anybody that works in the White House. I don't care. Oh, a stimulus bill? What do I need it for? I'm past coronavirus. That's how it's gonna be perceived. And the last time he tried a trick like this was when he said, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna shut the government down." Totally backfired. Killed him with the middle. And now he's doing it again. I guarantee you. Look, how much lower can he go in the polls? New poll out says Biden at a 16-point lead. Maybe it'll go to 20. Because regular Americans who desperately need that help just got slapped across the face by Donald Trump. I don't care what lunatic MAGA thinks. He's gonna lose all independence. It was a terrible, catastrophic mistake. The kind of mistake that only Donald Trump could make.
So you don't think that there's also one other giant difference between this election and the previous election, and that giant difference is that Republicans have been far more successful in disenfranchising voters this time around? I mean, we haven't talked about Louis DeJoy or the post office in weeks. So I mean, the assumption is that he reversed course and he's reinstalling all of those mail sorting machines. Do we have any evidence of that? Has anybody followed up with that? All of these states, including a story we're gonna do later in the show today with South Carolina, are implementing different strategies to make it increasingly difficult for people to vote by mail or by absentee ballot during this pandemic, when the majority of people are gonna wanna vote by mail or by absentee ballot. So that's
Anna,
another giant issue that I think everyone just keeps, I think it's funny because I feel like everyone talks about it in their newscasts. They'll talk about how serious it is, but then when it comes to any type of election analysis or electoral coverage, everyone's like, oh yeah, look at the polls. It's all that matters, what the polls say, what the polls say. It's not just about the polls. It's about ensuring that we have free and open elections. And I'm not entirely convinced that we do.
So Anna, he could steal an election all the way up to a 3-point loss. And I'm 1,000,000,000% with you on, we've got to make sure every vote is counted. We've covered every dirty trick. There's 2 more dirty tricks, as you pointed out later in the show, that they're doing as we speak. Will they try to cheat their way into a win? In a close election, the answer is a definite yes. So, and will they be able to succeed? Given how weak and feckless the Democrats are, the answer is also yes. And there's 3 Supreme Court justices now because of another story in today's news, Alito, Clarence Thomas, and Gorsuch, who say, we basically through their decisions have now said, we will let them do every dirty trick. We'll let them steal this election till the cows come home. So I'm not unaware of that, but you can't do it in an election that you lose by 10 points. At some point, people go, no, that's a coup. That's not around the edges, that voter suppression, blah, blah, blah. No, anyone, whether it's state electors, the Supreme Court, or anyone that says, yeah, I'm gonna reverse a 10-point, 9-point, 8-point, 7-point win in a national election, might as well declare us a dictatorship on the spot. And look, you steal an election by 3 points, you are a dictatorship. But the media will not go along, and the Republicans will not go along, and they will pretend that the fiction is real. You steal it when the other side won it by 7 or 8 points. No, then the jig is up. Then everybody knows that you're trying to kill democracy. It'll be too obvious. So you could say, oh, I don't believe it, etc. Great, vote. Go to tyt.com/vote to figure out how to vote. Okay, so I'm not making a Hillary Clinton mistake, but I'm telling you right now, what he did in killing the stimulus bill, and I'll add one other thing, he'll reverse position because the stock market collapse will be so deep that he'll have, and every Republican senator is calling him right now going, what the hell do you think you're doing? You idiot, it's not just you, we're all gonna lose. So he will likely reverse his position, but by that time, the damage is done. When you look at this and everybody sees getting slapped by Trump after he thinks he recovered from COVID, no, it's too big a mistake when he's too far down.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.